Thanks for coming out, and didn't think it'd be this cold today, right? This is crazy. I want to introduce to you guys one at a time. First is Pavin Smith, first baseman from Jupiter, Florida, attended the University of Virginia. '15 College World Series champ. Sorry about it. Drafted in 7th overall by the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2017, and then Major League debut, September 12th, 2020. So COVID was a good year for you. I'm like, yeah. All right, next, Joe Mantiply. So Joe, welcome him to the stage. Joe, left-handed pitcher, grew up in Virginia. Welcome, buddy. So glad he's with the Diamondbacks. Drafted 3 times. Just like, no, I don't want to sign here. I don't want to sign here. And then eventually signed with the Yankees. Is that right? No, Detroit. And then went to the Yankees. Then went to Reds. Back to the Yankees. Now the Diamondbacks. So those other teams didn't necessarily like you that much, or do you feel like they did like you?
All I heard was I had to go.
All
I
right.
wasn't in the meetings of what made them decide that, but yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, we're glad you're with the Diamondbacks. And last year, National League All-Star. Yeah, what a treat. That's awesome. Last but not least, Nick Ahmed. Your starting shortstop with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Nick played his college ball at University of Connecticut, was drafted in the 2nd round by the Atlanta Braves. Thankful he got traded to the Diamondbacks. He made his Major League debut in 2014. Man, you're getting old, bud.
Not that old yet.
Been around for a while. I'm thankful for him, though. Definitely this is my longest tenured D-back player I've ever had. Yeah, you just recently passed maybe Pollock? I was thinking Goldie, you guys came up together. What?
They were a couple years before me, but we've been they'll be 10 years together now.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we're going to have fun today. We're going to ask a lot of kind of cool questions. So I thought I would start off with just some questions that are outside the game of baseball with them. So you can kind of get to know them a little bit. So we'll just kind of start with you, Pavin. So what was it like growing up as a kid? Tell us about where you grew up, brothers, sisters. What was your life like there?
Yeah, so I was born in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then when I was 4 years old, I moved down to West Palm Beach in Jupiter, Florida. So I claim Florida more than I do Michigan. But I had 3 younger sisters. I was the oldest in my family. We definitely grew up bickering a little bit, but you grow to love them as you get older. I went to Palm Beach Gardens High School and then went to the University of Virginia, where I played college baseball for 3 years.
So what was the choice to go to Virginia and leave Florida?
I don't know. I think because I was born in Michigan, I did grow up like in the Michigan Wolverines, so I didn't have really any allegiance to any of the Florida schools. And I was pretty young. I was in 9th or 10th grade, went up to Virginia, and they said they were the #1 school in the nation. I was like, that's good enough for me.
There you go.
And I guess I was just too young to even really realize, but kind of wanted to, post on Facebook I was committed to a college, as early as I could.
That's right. That's awesome. And then you got Virginia Tech. You guys are rivals, right? Yep. So how about you, Joe, growing up?
So I grew up in a town called Danville, Virginia. It's right on the border of Virginia and North Carolina. Pretty small town. I went to small high school. I was 2A high school in Virginia. I think we had probably 800 students total. So pretty small. I was kind of a big fish in a small pond. I ended up going to Virginia Tech, and really eye-opening experience for me. It's a big school, but I grew up a Virginia Tech fan. My family, where I grew up is about 2 hours away. So when I went and visited there, and I loved it there. And from there, I played all 4 years. I was drafted as a senior by Detroit and got into pro ball. And here I am, I guess.
What now? Big question. What's like a hokey? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's the You're supposed to say, when someone asks you that, I am. That's what they tell you to say. So
That's great.
Yeah, I'm a Hokie.
You're a Hokie. Great. Well, that solved that mystery. All right. Nick, how about you, bud? What was it like growing up?
Yeah, so I grew up a small town in Massachusetts, western part of the state, a small town called East Long Meadow. I had two brothers. My older brother is actually here with his family right now, visiting from Massachusetts, and just grew up playing sports, loving sports, and went off to college, went to UConn for 3 years, played college baseball there, and then after I got drafted, I actually started my professional career in Danville, Virginia, where Joe was from, so you got a little connection there.
That's awesome. What other sports did you play?
I played soccer as a young kid, played basketball all the way through, high school and everything, played a couple years of football, played some golf, just tried a little bit of everything.
Nice. Joe, did you play anything else?
Yeah, my family played all kinds of sports growing up. My dad played basketball in college, so we were always into sports. We did everything. So mainly I played, I swam, played golf, basketball, soccer, and then through probably middle school was mostly like basketball, baseball, golf, and then when I got to high school, just focused on baseball.
Yeah. How about you, Pavin?
Yeah, I played basketball all the way up to my junior year of high school. I actually really loved basketball almost as much as I loved baseball. I just knew my future was more in baseball.
Nice. Well, I would agree. I mean, I can't imagine what kind of basketball player you'd be, but anyway.
Still on one.
How about let's transition, and you're all married, so let's talk about how you met your wives.
Yeah. So I met my wife at my roommate's in college wedding. I was a groomsman, she was a bridesmaid.
Were you guys matched up together?
No, we weren't, but I did see her on the rehearsal, and she had on the white Nike shoes, and I was like, that's the one that I'm going to be going for tonight. So it ended up working out. Yeah, it was her roommate in college married my roommate in college, so it's pretty crazy.
Where did she go to college?
University of Florida.
Oh,
So
wow.
Florida and Virginia, and it just happened. They met at Passion Conference in Georgia, in Atlanta, and they ended up getting married, and I was a groomsman, and she was a bridesmaid.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Joe, how about you?
Yeah, so I met my wife Ella at Virginia Tech. She's also from Virginia, but she played softball. Virginia Tech's a big school, so that the athletes are that's kind of who your peers are, if you're on an athletics team. So we were around the softball team, and we met. We didn't start dating until senior year, right before I went to pro ball, and she actually went to PT school, so she's a physical therapist, and so we both kind of were, our relationship really started long distance, but we were able to make it through it.
Awesome. How about you meeting Amanda?
Yeah, Amanda and I, we met in the hallways of East Long Meadow High School, and she kind of stalked me a little bit outside of, I think it was Spanish class. We both kind of got out of class, and she was just waiting there for me every day, and we started dating in high school and been together ever since.
Yeah, for sure interested in her side of the story.
That's the way she tells it, too.
Yeah, okay. All right, well then, speaking of wives, so what is one thing that your wife, maybe not the biggest fan about the baseball lifestyle? Is there something you want to go,
Sure.
Pavin?
I think it's finding the right community, and with people getting traded all the time, you have a best friend and then they get traded, and it's I got to meet some new friends, hopefully, because my wife Amanda, we have our wives have the same name, but every time we sign someone, she's like, does she have a wife? Does she have a wife?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing she asked me.
That's funny.
I think it's probably the travel. We've got a 3-year-old who's with us tonight. I don't know if she'll stand up. She might be a little shy. And then we have our other little girl's about to be 11 months. So she's got her hands full at home, and when we're gone, I think it's pretty tough. So that's probably her least favorite part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd kind of piggyback off what Pavin said, just kind of really getting connected into a place and a community of people. Off-season time, we like to go back home and visit family on the East Coast and then come back out here to start training and everything. So we don't really ever feel like we're connected into an environment besides the baseball community environment. So I think that's the most challenging part for us.
Yeah, it's just lots of transitioning happening, right? You injured to healthy to trade to on the road, so it's difficult, yeah. What would you describe as like an ideal day? Like, what's like an ideal day? Apart from like going 4-for-4 with 4 jacks, but like a regular outside of the game of baseball, like, all right, this is kind of an ideal day for you.
Yeah, you stole my joke that I was going to have at the end. No, I'm just kidding. I like to, wake up earlier than I have to be somewhere, kind of have a slower morning, have some coffee, read
How
the
do you drink
Bible.
your coffee?
Black.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good
I didn't
work.
start drinking coffee until I met Amanda. After college, started with like the milkshake type coffee, and I've worked my way all the way down to the black. Now I can't even really do cream.
Yeah.
So, have some coffee, read the Bible, maybe throw on some YouTube or something in the morning, and then I don't know. After that, I would like to golf or hang out with Amanda. How about golf with Amanda?
Bam.
Yeah.
That's a win.
Yeah. We did that last week. It was really fun. So there's a little cub course by our house. It's a little shorter that she can play. So
Bear Creek?
yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, I
cub
played that.
course.
Yeah, I tried to get my wife into golf, and then I got her a couple of lessons, and I'm not saying I'm not paying another lesson until you make contact with the ball. That was the end of our golf career.
You can go to Topgolf.
Topgolf,
Yeah, there you
for
go.
sure. You got an ideal day, Joe?
For me, I like to sleep in.
So you're
hard,
on the
it's
road. So you're on the road.
No, but yeah, an ideal day would be both of our girls sticking to the plan. Everybody goes down for, they sleep good. Maybe make nap time by the time, we want them to. And that keeps Ella in a good mood, which keeps me in a good mood.
That's
so,
right.
that would be my ideal day. Just no hiccups throughout the day.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I think for me, just it's spending time with family. Anytime I get to spend a full day with them, especially during the season, we travel so much and we're away from them so often that, we get an off day, right? I think that's the time we try to craft that ideal day and spend time together. And, we have 3 kids running around. So anytime we get to spend with them, away from the field is great. So just wrestling with the kids, just doing fun stuff like that. And, we like to cook dinner together. So put on some music and, cook up a nice meal and have a meal together.
Nice. So you guys have been playing together for a couple years. So can you describe Joe to the audience here?
Easy now.
He's a Hokie, so.
Yeah, which is either a problem or not.
Yeah. I'm just glad I don't have to face him. Every time he gets on the mound, I feel like he's gonna get the guy out. He's got good mental makeup and just a good guy.
Nice. All right. Good. All right. Well, how about describe Nick for us, Joe? What do you got there as a pitcher?
Yeah, both of these guys are, I feel like since I signed here, they've both just been 2 guys I feel like I relate with. And just hanging out with them in the clubhouse and stuff. And, I feel like all 3 of us have a lot in common. So, yeah, just being around them. When it comes to facing them, obviously I don't want to face them. So, yeah.
Nice. Nick, you're the veteran here.
Scouting report. You want a scouting report?
Yeah, a little scouting report. What do
We'll
we
do
got?
off the field scouting report. Like Joe said, we the 3 of us, we get along well. We spend time, our families get together and we spend time together. In the clubhouse, it's great. I think each of these guys here bring something to the team. Joe brings a competitiveness, like a real edge that you don't see just being a really nice guy sitting up here. Once we get out on the field, he really brings it. So you see him, fist pumping and yelling into his glove and just doing whatever he can to help the team out. And then Pav, I just describe him as steady. It doesn't feel like anything phases him. Whether he has a good game or bad game, he's the same guy all the time. So I respect that about both these guys here.
Yeah, that's good. That's fun. All right, let's talk about you're going to have your last supper. I want to know what you're going to eat, and then you can pick either any former dead or alive baseball player. Who would you sit and have that meal with? So what are you going to eat? Let's go there first.
I think I'm gonna make some Thai food.
Make Thai. You make the Thai
yeah,
food.
I love it. I love Thai food. It's my favorite food. Maybe some ginger chicken. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I don't know who I'm gonna eat it with.
Hopefully they like Thai food.
Maybe Joe and Nick.
No.
That's boring, man. What do you got for real?
Come on.
No, I always grew up loving Derek Jeter, so watching him and then watching the documentary that came out. Yeah, I guess I'll go with him.
All right, there you go. Good. Joe, what do you got?
I would definitely say a ribeye. A nice big ribeye would be my ideal meal.
Any sides?
No sides. I don't do fruits or vegetables.
Okay.
But that's a whole nother story. I would do a big steak, and then Mariano Rivera would be the guy I would choose. Me being a reliever, not even just reliever, but I think he's the best pitcher ever. He did it.
Did you get to meet him when you were with the Yankees?
I never did. He wasn't really around, but he did it for 20 years with one pitch, and it's pretty. To me, it's like pretty amazing, like how good he was with one pitch, and that guy just dominated.
Awesome.
I'm going surf and turf, steak and lobster, side of maybe some sweet potatoes. I want two people at the dinner.
Who we got?
I want Shohei Ohtani and Babe Ruth. Maybe the two most talented players in the history of the game, just doing it on both sides of the ball. And we need a translator for sure.
Yeah, probably for both of them.
Yeah, for both of them maybe. But just trying to hear, those guys' mindsets and the talent level they had, it would be fun for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. So as a hitter, Pavin, who's the toughest pitcher you faced?
I think Jacob deGrom. Yeah, he just throws 102, and he always throws it on one side of the plate, so it's always in to me. So I have to really start early. And then when he finally throws one down the middle, it looks so far away because I'm thinking he's throwing it in every time. So that, and then any really left-handed sinker that's in on me.
Yep.
Just left-handed sinker in, so this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe, who you not? Who's like all right, tough out?
Tough out for me has always been Trey Turner. He's just pesky, and if he just puts the ball in play, there's a pretty good chance he's probably going to beat it out. He actually hit a single off me to second a couple years ago, which was the most. It seemed like the last 30 feet of the baseline was it's like he teleported there. And then when he gets on first, you might as well just send him to third.
Yeah.
So to me, he's just kind of a headache. He's tough out, and he's always just been kind of a thorn in my side.
All right.
And I normally wouldn't answer this question because I don't like giving pitchers a lot of credit. I'm just kind of playing that mind game with them. But I'm going to answer it because the two guys in our league that are my least favorite at-bat, least favorite pitcher to face, are actually on our team right now. And I faced them in live BP today, just in our inter-squad work today. Juris Familia and Miguel Castro. And they're just some of the most nasty sinkers from the right side you're ever going to see. I think Pavin asked me this earlier. I faced Familia, I think, 5 times. He's broke my bat 4 of the 5 times. So I think one of the time my thumb fell off and stayed at home plate, and I was trying to run down to first. But, yeah, I normally wouldn't answer that, but since those guys are on our team, I'll go with them.
Oh, man, that's a good choice. Yeah, I'm glad those guys are over here. Yeah, that'll be exciting. How about some of these new rules? What are your take on what's your take on the 20-second pitch clock?
I actually, for the first time, pitched on it the other day and yesterday in the live BP, and to be honest, it wasn't that. I don't know if it was that setting or what, but I didn't seem, that sped up by it. I think it's going to be an adjustment for sure, but I feel like I try to work quick anyway, so I don't think it's going to be that big of an adjustment.
Have you guys thought about it all, just from getting in the box and?
Yeah, well, I played with it a couple times in AAA last year, and there was a game that we had 28 hits, and the game was still under 3 hours. And I was like, this is awesome.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, the one part of it that I think is going to be a little weird is the limiting the pickoffs. So if you pick off twice, you can't pick off a third time. If you try a third time, you either got to get the guy out or he gets to next base. So there's going to be some, getting used to it from that standpoint. I think the pitch clock is going to be an adjustment, but I think we're all going to get used to that quickly and then make the games a lot shorter, like Pavin's saying, which is going to be good for everybody.
I was talking to a Major League umpire about that pitch clock. They got 14 pages of rules that they have to know with the 20-second pitch clock. So this will be interesting to see how this comes together. The shift, yeah, that's they got that now.
I love that.
Yeah, for sure, you do.
Yeah, it's definitely good for hitters. I think it's good for our team too. We have a lot of defenders who can move around the field really well. So I think the defensive shifting, teams would put players in the right position pretty much where guys would hit the ball all the time. And I think now not having that, really defense is going to be that much more valuable. So our team with speed and defense is going to benefit, I think, from that a lot.
Yeah, I think so too. You guys seem to be pretty well equipped for this. You got a little ahead of that curve, which is cool with the speed that you have on your team. The bigger base.
Yeah, I was joking around with some of our guys. I called Domino's up in the offseason and ordered an extra large pizza. Didn't get the pizza, just needed the box just to kind of see the size of it. But it just looks like a huge pizza box is what we keep saying. But yeah, that's not a real issue. I think that's just a safety concern of, trying to avoid collisions on the field.
Have they brought back the extra inning thing?
Yeah, that's official now. That's part of the game for good.
What do you think of that?
I like it. I hear some boos out there, but I've played some, 17, 18 inning games in my career, and it's just like 6-7 hour baseball game. By the time the game's over, the fans are not there. Everybody's gone home and gone to bed, and we're out there still playing. And, after the game, we send 2 of our relief pitchers down just to get some reinforcements. They didn't do anything to deserve to get sent down. We just have to do it. So those things we don't like as players. We got good players on our team, and you got to send them out just for that reason. So I like the extra inning rule. I know some people don't, but I think it's good for the game.
Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I haven't been. It's got its pros and its cons. It's kind of a crappy situation when you come in and there's a runner on second, and but at the same time it does shorten the game. But it's really hard to prevent somebody from scoring with nobody's on base, and when somebody's on second with no outs, it seems almost like impossible. So mentally, it just kind of sometimes can put you in a bad mood, like coming in the game. But it is what it is, and you either gotta do it or not. And so
you just stand on the mound and you say, "I'm a Hokie."
Here I am. That's right.
That's right. Do you have any thoughts on that or no?
Yeah, I think I like it. Extra RBI out there if you're up.
There you go. Easy, right? All right, last question kind of related to this kind of stuff, like not with rules, but like advice. We have some young kids out here, and the audience that's watching back home, and those that'll see this on delay. What's been some of the best advice you've given that you've received in the game, just to kind of help you become who you are? You want to go, Nick? You got it.
Yeah, I'll go first. I think for me, one of the biggest skills that I see in the most successful players is being a good self-reflector. I think the game of baseball inherently beats us down, right? We get so much failure. If you go 3 for 10, you're still failing 7 times, but you're a great player at the plate. So just learning how to deal with that failure and not let it beat you down, but learn from it. And I think we all have, holes in our game, right, that we need to improve on and get better at. But if we can't look ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, I have this deficiency or this weakness, and this is a part of my game I need to work on, then we're going to be struggling. We're going to be stuck in the same spot. We're never going to grow. So this is a lesson that applies off the field as well. We got to learn how to be a good self-reflector, on the baseball field, but also off the field at home, when we go home to our families and things like that. So being a good self-reflector for me is the most important skill.
Yeah, that's good. Joe, you good?
Yeah, for me, building on that, like being a good self-evaluator. It's easy to, say that, you're getting a bad deal or, you're getting treated unfairly. But, at the end of the day, like, are you actually doing, what you should be doing? And then just don't take your work home. If you have a bad day at the field, try to just wash it as best you can. The quicker you can get over bad and good outings, the better off, you're going to be mentally. And I think, that helps your performance.
That's good.
Yeah, I think baseball is just such a mental game, and just being able to realize that you could do everything right and still be 0 for 3, and you don't have to go back and change things. I know I've dealt with that, just like the littlest of slumps, you looking at your swing too much or worried about what, other people are thinking about you, what the GM's thinking about you, what the coach is thinking about you, about who's playing you, and just to worry about what you can control.
Yeah. I think that's what Amanda said that she disliked most about the game is when you were in a slump. Yeah. Anyway.
It was a lot last year.
Yeah. Well, these three guys have a really cool faith and a love for Jesus, and it's been neat. We've been meeting, even through the COVID, we were meeting at a friend's Corvette garage to have Bible studies before going to the field, and just getting to spend time and watch these guys grow. Obviously, I've been with Nick for a long time, and watching their faith being lived out on a daily basis has been awesome. So I kind of want to just start with that a little bit. Like, when did you first hear about Jesus? Was it something that maybe you grew up in your household?
Yeah, I grew up in a Christian household. Both my parents, taught me Jesus from a young age, and I'm very appreciative of that. But for me, just going forward, moving throughout life, it's about, having that consistent faith. I heard that from our pastor this weekend. Consistent faith is more important than just having a big faith for a little bit of time, because, the ups and downs of life happen all the time, and just trying to be just consistently in the Word and consistently abiding with Him.
Yeah, that's good. Joe, how about you, bud?
Yeah, same. I grew up in the church. My grandfather was, in our hometown, was a pretty big minister of a pretty big church. And, my parents, we grew up in the church. And then, going through, kind of once I got into college, I'd say I definitely slacked off, just with, growing up, it was just kind of pretty much mandatory, you know what I mean? And I didn't really, I think I was just too immature to understand, really the, what we were doing. It was just something always we did, Sundays and Wednesdays we went to church, and, and then meeting my wife, and, we really started getting back into it once we got a little older, and, it's something that, honestly, without her, I don't know if I would have, myself gone back into it. You know what I mean? I really needed kind of a push. So very thankful for that. And yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I grew up going to a Catholic church with my family. My parents would kind of drag me, my mom especially, kicking and screaming half the time, going out the door. But I didn't really have a faith. It was just more of a duty to go to church and do something that my mom wanted me to do. It wasn't my choice to be there, and I didn't have a relationship with Jesus at all. It was more about just going and checking a box and then trying to be a good person the rest of the week. I never read the Bible, didn't really, I wouldn't be able to explain to you who Jesus was or what he did for me at that time. And kind of like Joe, went off to college and did my own thing, focused on, baseball and chasing things of the world. And then after I got drafted, I've shared my testimony here a few times. You guys may have heard it, but I was hoping that baseball was going to fulfill the deepest desires of my heart and soul. Since I was a little kid, that's all I wanted to do, right? And then I get drafted, and I'm playing professional baseball, and I'm just still missing something. I feel like I need something that I don't know what it is. And I got invited to go to baseball chapel, and, there's amazing chaplains all around the country going to professional baseball stadiums like Brian Hummel, just showing up every Sunday and pouring into these professional baseball players. And I got invited. I went a couple times, and then my manager in AA, a guy named Andy Green, gave me my first Bible, and we started to read together. And that was the first time I really started to kind of dig into Scripture and really know who Jesus was.
That's good. I kind of piggyback off of that, as you talked about Andy Green being someone who influenced you in your faith. Do you guys have a teammate or a person in your life? You obviously mentioned your wife, but is there a player or something that stands out to you that's really been encouraging to you in your faith?
Yeah, I think just growing up, it's been my dad most of the time. As I've been married, though, with my wife, and we have a friend who I came up with in the minor leagues, Camden Dusenak, and his wife were in a Bible study together, and then we got the group with the D-backs that every month. I know Joe's doing it right now in Mark, but
You want to tell them what that is? What we're doing this season?
yeah. So I think every month a guy is gonna take you through a part of the Bible and give notes and ask questions and just be engaging with one another. So yeah, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, we got this cool group text. How's that been for you, taking everybody?
Oh yeah, it's been fun. I've had trouble sticking with the schedule, I guess. I get kind of, I've gotten like really into it. We're supposed to take Saturday and Sunday off, I guess, and it's just so the timeline works out, but I've just been blowing through the weekends.
Joe's an overachiever.
Joe's an overachiever. We're just
So
going through the New Testament through the whole year.
I sent a text to our group the other day and just got crickets, but I was like, do you guys want me to take a couple days off to get back on track? And I got no answer from
That's
anyone.
Mom's job to answer
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we'll take a couple days off, I guess it's fine. No.
But no, two people that have been really influential to me too has been, since I've been here, Brian and Nick both. Everything I personally think happens for a reason, and I'm so glad I'm in this group, and it's been really fun.
That's awesome. I know you've had some
for
good
me,
friendships.
I'm just going to give you some love right now, Ham. Been with him for 10 years. I met him, I think, 12 years ago when I played in the Arizona Fall League, and just been a model of consistency for me, just the way he lives out his faith, the way he pours into us, the way I see him treat his wife and his 3 girls is incredible. So he's just been a model of consistency for me and somebody that I can just look to and try to emulate what he does.
Yeah, and you and Amanda both, thank you. Appreciate that. You and Amanda both have some great friendships in the game, and I know that the trades have happened, and whether it's Pollocks or the Goldschmidts or the Rays and that kind of thing. How's that? Do you really work diligently to stay in touch with guys that get traded? I know your wives are staying in touch with their wives, but yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. I think I had 4 straight years where my best friend on the team got traded or signed with another team. So it just felt like one year after another, and there's nothing you can do about it as a player, right? It's just, one day your best friend, somebody you really trust and love is there, and the next day they're not. And, those guys you try to be intentional and see, but we don't live in the same place in the off season. And, you just kind of just lose touch a little bit just based on the proximity of the relationship. But Amanda's great about that. She really pours into the wives and has great friendships with them. And she works really hard to try to get us together. And some of them are going to be in town here during spring training. So we just kind of fight to try to, either have them over to our house for dinner and let the kids play or go out to dinner and, catch up. So there's a lot of phone calls in the off season or, in season when I'm driving to the field or in the hotel and just trying to be intentional about pouring into people and continuing relationships, when it becomes difficult.
Yeah. It's described like how the game of baseball at times, you can almost be isolated, like wrestling with that isolation of whether you've been performing not at a level that you'd like and then how that just kind of plays into your journey. Like, I know that's not a scripted question on here, so I'm kind of throwing you a curveball there, bud, or a sinker or a DeGrom fastball inside. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I just went to church for the last time on last Sunday until October. So that's one thing, you have a community in the off season and then you have your community in season that you have to do. So it's kind of crazy to think about. It's like, I'm not going to be here until October.
Yeah, that's tough for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just it's so easy to get wrapped up in, during the season. Everything, the season blows by so fast. It's so easy to get wrapped up in just your individual, whatever's going on. And, just being able to really work hard to focus on staying grounded and finding, some kind of which I think is so great about our group and stuff, is like, every Sunday we have, our set guys, and I feel like that just kind of brings me back every day and kind of slows the game down for me a little bit.
That's good.
I think the isolation comes from the performance-based kind of work that we do. I think at times, guys, and I'll fall into the trap at times, is you get wrapped up into how you performed on the field, right? And then we have, teammates that are kind of falling into the same trap as well, right? And you think nobody understands what you're going through and the pressures that you're dealing with and trying to go hit and perform and play in front of 40,000 people. And, it's just not a lot of people understand the lifestyle like we've talked about, or understand, the performance-based nature of the work that we do. And I think that can be isolating. It's just finding people to connect with, and then finding people within the game that have the same values we do, which is why this group, like we're all saying, is super important. So, if you guys have that, great. If not, you got to fight hard for that, to find your people and find people that have the same beliefs and values you do, to just kind of lean on, right? There's times when, things are going good, but there's plenty of times where we need people to help us and encourage us along the way.
That's right. It's good. How about a Bible verse? You got like a favorite one?
Yeah, I was trying to decide between a few, but they all have to do with, trusting in the Lord, in difficult times. Mine was Jeremiah 29:11. Says, trust the plans that I have for you, to prosper, not harm you. Plans for hope in the future.
Yeah. Interesting about that verse is that the Israelites were in Babylon, in prison when that was going on, so sometimes
lots of trust.
Yeah, lots of trust to navigate through that for sure. That's good. Joe, how about you?
Yeah, mine's, it's actually on my glove, but 1 Peter 5:6, humble yourselves, therefore in due time, God may lift you up. And, that's such a good verse for me because, it's so easy to get, a big head, you know what I mean? And, being able to, the game is so humbling. As soon as you think you've got it figured out, the game lets you know. And, for me, it's like, it's all about trying to stay humble and stay grounded and even keel. And that verse just kind of brings me back to that.
That's good.
Yeah, one of my favorites is from the end of Jesus' teaching in the Sermon on the Mount about building your house on the firm foundation. I think so many times we try to get these like little things and add these little things into our lives, but if you have your house built on this firm foundation of Jesus, right, he compares it to building a house on rock versus building a house on sand. And when the storms of life come, is your house going to withstand the storms, right? Because we're all going to go through them, right? We're not immune to it just because we're believers and we're following Jesus. That doesn't mean our circumstances are going to be perfect all the time. So when he's teaching about that, it just reminds me every time I read it and every time I think about it, is to make sure my life isn't built on things of this world that can basically be blown away, right, by the wind and the rain and the storms, right? So it's just a reminder to me in my mind every time is just like, make sure I wake up every day and my foundation is on the immovable rock of Jesus.
Amen. That's good. Yeah. All right, another curveball. So I'm going to kind of just share a final thought with you guys, but I want you guys to kind of roll with me on this, okay? So there's 3 basic needs that all human beings have. And the first basic need is that we need to be convinced that we are loved unconditionally, without strings attached, that we are loved unconditionally. And you live and work in a situation that loves you not unconditionally, but conditionally, right? How at times has that been a challenge for you not to think about your journey with God as it relates to like how you play? You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes we kind of get into this conditional based relationship with the Lord. I don't know how many of you can maybe have thought about this, but sometimes we think that, oh, when I do good, God loves me, or when I do bad, God's upset with me. And that's actually religion, right? That's a conditional based relationship. That's how the world operates. The game of baseball specifically does that.
Yeah, for me, I think it's like if you mess up or you sin, you feel like something bad's gonna happen to me. Or like, I'm gonna go 0 for 4 tomorrow because of that. And you have to remind yourself, he loves you unconditionally. He's not, as soon as you ask for forgiveness, that's wiped away.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that hit the nail on the head. Yeah, it's so easy to get, wrapped up in like doing good deeds. You know what I mean? You feel like, you talked about it the other day, like on Sunday, about like this checklist of, if I do this, this, and this, I'm going to be in good favor. Whereas, there's only one thing, you know what I mean, that you need to do. And I'm sure he doesn't even care what you do in the game. He doesn't care if you go 4-4, 0-4. The Lord loves us no matter what. And as long as we trust in him, and, I think that's the thought.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and I've definitely felt that struggle as well at times. And I grew up thinking I had to earn everything, right? Not even from a faith perspective, but just had to go out and earn it and achieve it, right? So I think that's just part of how I'm wired a little bit, is like I just want to go out and do it. And I'm a type A kind of productive person. I want to go out and get things done. So relating to that back to God, I don't need to go do anything for God. He just wants me to rest and abide in him, right? And that's such a challenge for me, right? To just slow down and rest and know that I don't need to do anything to earn his love and acceptance and favor, that it's just been given to me freely. I just have to accept it. So I think we all struggle with that at times, especially in our culture, right? Where everything is so fast paced and, achieve this, do that, succeed in this way. It's really hard for us to slow down and just have that time of silence and solitude and presence just with God and yourself. Right? I struggle with that a lot, but it's something I'm working to try to get better at, and just rest in the fact that he loves me no matter what.
Yeah, that's good. The second need that all human beings need is that we need to be convinced that we're special and worthwhile and unique, that we need encouragement that we can do this. And when you look at the game, I had a buddy that used to say he tried to get out in the first 2 pitches so that no one could see his batting average up on the screen. And so when you think about like in the game and how you do every day is posted for everyone to see, and you get a lot of negative attention at times because, hey, how hard is it? Why can't you hit DeGrom? And you just get the armchair quarterback. But you also are like, hey, you are unique. You are special. Your parents have come alongside of each of you. None of you got here by yourself. There was different people that come alongside to encourage you and bless you. But how have you wrestled with like, oh man, doubt, or can I do this? It's so difficult. The game's so challenging. How have you kind of wrestled with some of that in your journey?
Yeah, it's for me last year, I got hurt in July, and during the year before that, I wasn't playing very well, and you start to like think about, dang, what am I gonna do if I don't play baseball? Like, I don't have a college degree, I have to go back to college, all this stuff comes to mind. And then actually getting hurt was kind of a blessing, because I was out for 3 months, and I was like, you know what, this, my life isn't terrible, Yeah. When you're there every day and you're going through it every day, you can kind of get wrapped up in the performance, and then you take a step back. And it seems like every off season too, when you're just not playing, it's like, why do I do that during the year? So, try to just, just stay in the Word with God and just stay within yourself and stay grounded.
It's good.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a roller coaster of a career, bounced around multiple teams, been DFA'd, been, released, all this stuff. And, I used to really hang my hat on my performance in my career. And, once I came to the realization that, whether I play baseball or not, I'm going to be fine. Then I felt like really freeing. I've got a great family, and I'm a hard worker, and I know that, when my career is over, whatever I do, I'm gonna put 100% effort. So once I came to that realization that baseball wasn't, everything in my life, it really, I started performing actually way better. And then I think, the best I honestly have pitched in a long time was a couple of years ago when we had the alternate site. We didn't have a scoreboard. We didn't have stats. It was just, like we were kids. It stunk because we were, playing the same guys every day. But I took something from that time. Like I don't look at any of my statistics throughout the season. I just came to the realization that my statistics aren't going to help me perform, and you know, looking at them as just kind of an external, you know, thing that I don't need to pay attention to. It's not going to help me in my day to day. So, yeah, I mean, just trying to, you know, baseball is kind of, it's what I do. It's not who I am. And once I, you know, came to that realization, it changed a lot in my performance.
That's good.
You're lucky the scoreboard's behind you, not in front of you.
Yeah, hitters have a little disadvantage there. Yeah.
I love what Joe said about the freedom he has now to compete. I was going to share something else, but I just want to kind of continue on that thought. We don't follow Jesus to be better baseball players, right? But I think people at times want to shy away from the fact that by following Jesus, we are actually better at living life, right? That it makes us better baseball players, but it makes us better husbands, it makes us better fathers, right? Because we have the freedom to know that we don't have to earn anything, and we're just free to just go out and play and be present to the moment, because our performance doesn't make us, you know, more valuable or less valuable, right? Our identity is not wrapped up in what we do. So then we have the freedom to just go out and do and exhibit the gifts that God has given us. So I think I just wanted to make that point, is that following Jesus doesn't mean you're going to be the best at what you do or play in the big leagues like we've got the opportunity to do. But following Jesus allows you the ability to be free in the present moment, to just be better at whatever you're doing in life.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Finally, the last part that we need to be convinced is that we're not going to be left alone to face life's trials and struggles. And you have a community here, right? You have each other. It's a unique community. You know the culture. You know the ups and downs. You know how to grieve and rejoice in this culture. And that's an important thing. And when we look at life, if I'm looking for unconditional love, or I'm looking for somebody to essentially, like Jerry Maguire said, like complete me, it's not out there in a person. It's in there in the person of Jesus. He completes me. The way that he loves us is greater than we can ever love ourselves or someone else could love us. And when you have this love of Christ in you, you're able to love others in ways you never imagined. I remember one of my daughters asking me if I loved Jesus more than I loved Mom, my wife, and I'm like, yes. And she's like, what? I'm like, yes, but loving Jesus, as Nick said, has taught me how to love my wife in ways I could never have, or my daughters or my friends or my neighbors or teammates of the guys that I minister to. So it's this unconditional love that Jesus lavishes upon us at the cross. And then he speaks to us and says that you are unique, you are beautiful, you are special. And he encourages us. And that's when we get in the Word and we experience that. And then when you meet in fellowship and you gather together, that's part of what's happening. When you worship collectively together, you're being encouraged. This world is hard, right? It's just ripping us apart. But yet Jesus is the rock on which we're living our lives on, so we can withstand these storms. And then the last thing, Jesus said this, the last thing he said in Matthew 28, he says, behold, I'm with you always. And that's the beautiful thing about our relationship with Jesus, is that he's with you forever. And that's the joy that these guys get to experience on a daily basis, that they know who they are in Christ, they're learning that daily, and they're taking who they are in Christ and they're bringing that into what they do. And for much of their life before that, they were pulling who they were from what they were doing. And it created this ups and downs in their journey. So our encouragement to you is that understand who Jesus is, learn his ways, follow him. And when you do, you'll see these things happen in your life, this unconditional love that frees you to love others. This uniqueness that he has called, and he has a vision for you, as your verse says, right? What is your dreams? What is your visions? Let's work together. And then finally, that he's with us always. We're never alone. Even though we may have moments of isolation in the game where we feel like, I can't get anybody out or I can't get a hit. His love for us isn't based upon that. And so there's that freedom that we have in Jesus that he provides for us. Any final thoughts that you guys would have to add to that? Or?
I mean, I just have one thing that I heard in high A one time. I don't know what made me think of it, but what chaplain there told me, should play like Jesus' name is on your back and not yours. And it makes you act a lot different when you're on the field.
That's good.
Because, someone's watching there, you're like being the reflection of Jesus. So it keeps me calmer.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Good. Well, how about I close this in prayer? Yeah. Father in heaven, thank you. Thank you for this time that we can gather together like this. Those that are here and those that are watching, Jesus, if anyone doesn't know you, I pray that they would move towards you. Jesus, you say that if we draw near to you, you will draw near to us. And what does that look like? It's from turning from sin, it's turning to you, it's reading your word, it's gathering in fellowship and joining a local church, it's growing and learning to trust you and communicate with you. Thank you, Jesus, for the love that you've lavished upon us. May we lavish that love upon everyone we come in contact with. We thank you for this evening, and we pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, thank you for coming out.